The Ohio State Buckeyes, Steve, are the 2025 national champs. They beat Notre Dame 34-23. They are the first champions of the first 12-team playoff bracket. So, what was your reaction to Ohio State winning it all?
And they were the first champions of the 4-team playoff bracket too, right? I remember Ohio State beating Alabama in that semifinal and then beating Oregon in the championship. Ryan Day getting the monkey off his back. Maybe these diehard Ohio State fans that hold that job to such a high standard, some of the media, maybe even some former players and coaches. When you lose to Michigan 3 times in a row, there's a lot of heat and a lot of question marks. Hey, it's hard to win week in and week out. Ryan Day wins nearly every Saturday he takes the field, and they bounce back from the Michigan game. They beat a good Tennessee team. They smash Oregon. Then they go down and beat Texas and finish off against a Notre Dame team that had the nation's longest winning streak going into the game. Ohio State is your national champion. First title for them in 10 years. Yeah. Ryan Day proving the loud but small group of naysayers out there wrong in the process. And I'm excited for the Ohio State program and their fans, and it was an exciting night for them to get it done. And before the game, Josh, the coaching staff, they were doing some recruiting. They were already thinking about trying to win their next championship and the one after that. And they have a championship level recruiting class coming in 2025 at the top 5 class. A lot of those guys were dressed. They couldn't play. They're not on the roster yet, but are already enrolled, dressed, and we're soaking it all in as they'll be key guys on the roster next year. But 2026 recruiting, Ohio State inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, FaceTiming top recruits, showing them the atmosphere, the environment, the standard of games that Ohio State plays in. Jared Curtis, On3's #1 ranked quarterback, was one of the prospects that got a FaceTime call from several staffers at Ohio State. Buckeyes trying to make up ground there for Jared Curtis. Now, quarterback never an issue under Ryan Day in Ohio State. It's been a long time since Ohio State's run out with a question mark at quarterback, and they're certainly not going to for years to come. And they're not going to be worried about quarterback for quite some time with young Julian Sayin right to take the reins at some point here. But they want to get guys that can push the room, guys of that caliber. Jared Curtis, certainly of that caliber. Right before we hopped on to record this show, we're recording on Tuesday because of the holiday yesterday, Tyler Atkinson hits me back, the #1 linebacker in the country. The win showed resilience. He's talking about Ohio State. I can relate after coming off my own state championship win at Grayson and being overlooked and counted out by many. These recruits see media and people counting out the Buckeyes after they lose to Michigan on social media, vindicated, the bounce back, the culture, the resolve that Ohio State has. And he talked about how Ohio State believed in themselves, never going to be outworked mindset, and gave Ohio State praise. Georgia, he was at Georgia this past weekend again. Georgia's considered the favorite right now in the process, but Ohio State's been in the top 2 or 3 for quite some time for Tyler Atkinson. Now they got another national championship to maybe add an inch or two in their efforts to land him. Darius Gray, the #4 interior offensive lineman, Josh, he raved about Ohio State again. We talked to him after the semifinal win. Talked to him after the championship win. He talked about the standard of Ohio State football. It's the best you can get. I'll let you jump in here, but Albert Hill, the #1 corner in the country, he said the title is very big. I'm happy for them guys. Their season showed me how you can have ups and downs, but never settle for less. Ohio State's battling Oregon, Texas A&M, Michigan, and some others to keep Albert Hill home. But winning a national championship, Ohio State, they got the financial backing. They got the play on the field. They got the player development. They got the culture. And now they got the national title, the crystal ball, to help recruit some of these elite players in 2026.
Yeah, I love you hitting on all these #1s. We got #1 Ohio State. We got #1 Tyler Atkinson. We got #1 Albert Hill. Let's keep with that number one theme. Number one wide receiver, Chris Henry Jr. He was down in Miami with you this weekend at the Battle 7-on-7. Talk to Ohio State fans just about your conversation with them, where things stand. We know Oregon continues to try to make a push here. What was Chris Henry Jr. saying?
Well, all the right things about his commitment to Ohio State. He said it's going to be real hard to flip him. I'm real locked in with Coach Hartline, the program in general. They develop receivers there. And then certainly he was very active on social media last night following Ohio State's win, called Ryan Day the best coach in the country. Again, the way Brian Hartline prepares the receivers to play, gets them right mentally to go out and compete and maximize their talents and abilities, is what stands out about that relationship. But he's going to be at Oregon this coming weekend. It's going to be a massive recruiting weekend for the Ducks. Chris Henry, part of that. And he's been there a couple of times. He's keeping them warm. And there is some buzz that the Ducks are a very legitimate threat to flip him from Ohio State. He likes Junior Adams. He likes Dan Lanning. He pointed to the season that they had and the coaching staff and the way that they've put their players in position to win week in and week out. He also said he likes LSU, Tennessee, Texas A&M. So there's some other schools he's keeping warm. Oregon remains the biggest threat to Ohio State. He's going to be at Oregon this weekend, but he did say he wants to get back to Ohio State in the near future too. And I know he's feeling juiced up and excited about the Buckeyes national championship.
Well, there's one more number one I got for you that I want to hear about. That's number one running back, Savion Hyder. He's been making some visits, but he had to be impressed with the way Ohio State utilized those running backs in the championship game.
Yeah, and you can tell if you're an Ohio State running back, they find a way to get you the ball in a variety of ways, and they can utilize multiple backs along with multiple receivers. The offense is that fast-paced, that explosive. Everybody eats. Savion Hyder said it's huge to see how they pulled through adversity to become national champs. It's exciting to have the opportunity to play for a championship team. And when you look at the schools he's looking at the strongest, you have Ohio State, you have Georgia, you have Tennessee, and you have Michigan. You have 3 playoff teams from this year. Then you have last year's defending national champs. So winning is important. Culture is important. I think Ohio State's got a little bit of ground to make up with Savion Hyder, but they're right in the thick of it.
All right. Ohio State fans, how are we feeling after another national championship? What do you guys think this means for recruiting for the Buckeyes in 2026? Talk to us. Let us know. Comment section below.